When you're thinking about swapping your TV for a projector, the first thing that worries most people is whether they'll end up with a blurry picture in a bright living room or a machine that takes forever to set up. That hesitation is real, especially after you've spent a few $100s on a home theater upgrade that doesn't live up to the hype. I'm going to walk through the LG HU915QE Ultra Short Throw 4K laser projector the way a buyer would, looking at real-world placement, daily usability, the hidden trade-offs, and exactly who will get the most bang for their buck. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the most obvious question. Can you actually get a true 4K image without having to mount a massive device on the ceiling? The HU915QE uses a genuine 38402160 panel, not a pixel-shuffled 4K enhanced chip, so you're seeing 4 times the detail of a standard 1080p projector. That matters when you sit a few feet away from a 120-inch screen and still want the fine texture in a nature documentary to hold up. The laser light source gives you 3700 ANSI lumens, which is high enough to push a bright image even in rooms with ambient light, but the key is how that brightness translates once the projector is tucked just 2.2 inches from the wall. The ultra-short throw ratio of 0.19 means you place the unit almost against the wall and still get a 100-inch diagonal image. In practice, I set it up in a 12 by 15-foot family room, positioned it on a low console, and the image filled the wall without any keystone correction. The advantage here is that you don't need a ceiling mount, a long cable run, or a dedicated projector screen. The wall itself becomes the screen, which is perfect for people who want a clean, minimalist look. The downside is that the wall needs to be fairly flat and paint-finished. Any texture or glossy finish can cause hot spots or slight unevenness in the image. I tried it on a lightly textured plaster wall, and while the picture remained sharp, the laser light reflected a faint grid where the texture changed, which is something to keep in mind if your living room walls aren't perfectly smooth. Now, let's talk about what you actually do with the picture once it's there. LG's webOS 6.0 is baked right into the projector, giving you direct access to Netflix, YouTube, Apple TV+, and a handful of other streaming apps. There's no need for an external streaming stick if you're comfortable using the remote that comes with the unit. The interface is responsive enough that scrolling through a show's library feels as smooth as it would on a smart TV. The real convenience shows up when you pair the projector with the LG ThinQ app on your phone. You can switch inputs, adjust picture modes, or enable auto brightness without ever leaving your couch. Auto brightness, in particular, is a subtle but useful feature. It reads the room's light level and nudges the projector's output up or down so you don't have to manually dial in a setting every time you dim the lights for a movie. Speaking of inputs, the HU915QE offers 3 HDMI ports, a USB-C for media playback, and a LAN port for wired networking. That breadth of connectivity is handy if you want to hook up a game console, a Blu-ray player, or even a laptop for occasional work presentations. I ran a Windows laptop through the HDMI while running a PowerPoint deck in a home office setting, and the image stayed crisp and lag-free, which proved that the projector can double as a secondary display for productivity, not just entertainment. So who should actually consider buying this projector? First, families who want a big screen experience without the permanent footprint of a large TV. If you have a dedicated viewing wall, or are willing to paint a smooth section, the ultra-short throw design saves you the hassle of ceiling mounts and long cables. Second, movie enthusiasts who appreciate true 4K resolution and want the color accuracy that a laser light source delivers. The laser maintains consistent color over its lifespan, meaning you won't notice the picture dimming after a year or two. Third, anyone who values a streamlined, all-in-one streaming experience. The built-in webOS eliminates the need for extra streaming hardware, and the auto brightness keeps the picture looking good as the sun sets. On the flip side, there are buyers who should walk away. If you live in a very small apartment with only a few feet of wall space, you might struggle to get a satisfying screen size without a dedicated screen. The projector's ideal sweet spot starts around an 80-inch diagonal. Anything smaller feels underwhelming. Also, if you are a hardcore gamer who needs ultra-low input lag, the HU915QE isn't marketed as a gaming-first projector. While the latency is acceptable for casual play, competitive gamers might notice a fraction of a second delay compared to a dedicated gaming monitor. Lastly, the price point sits in the premium bracket. This isn't a budget entry-level model. If you're looking for a sub $2,000 projector that can throw a decent image in a